All right, we're talking about Atlanta here for both the Cup and the Xfinity Series. Really the same approach. We all know that. I'm going to be out of town this weekend and next weekend, so no live shows. But I'm still going to be making videos. You can message me on Twitter if you're in the Discord. You can feel free to reach me there. Still going to be doing the PDF and the projections. Don't worry about that. I'm not going to stop doing that. Just won't be here to do the live shows this weekend and next weekend. When we're looking at Atlanta, we understand that this is just a plate race, right? Come on, everybody talking about like it's not is insane. Like when we look at the amount of lap leaders we had last time, when we look at the what is it? When we look at the on the amount of wrecks that we had, look, it's a plate race. I have several videos out on this channel talking about plate races. Ones made that were really good this year, right before the Daytona 500, where Pearce and I would talk about and we went over the plate races like in more detail and just be like, oh, so and so has an average running position of here, or not average running position, but so and so has been optimal here. Like we actually went through and looked at how the lineups look, and I truly believe that's how you should play and build lines. And really, the only thing that you have to worry about this weekend is ownership in terms of playing lower owned guys compared to the ones around them in the back half of the field. Do you want to do a 6 stack? Do you want to do a 5-1, a 4-2? I'll probably be doing all of them. This week at Atlanta is very interesting just due to the fact that at the bigger tracks like Daytona and Talladega, there's more of an incentive to just ride behind people. And by that I mean, yes, one, you survive, but two, you don't get the big runs every time. Like to make a run and pass a leader, you have to time it out, you have to work for multiple laps, and usually to take the lead at Daytona or Talladega typically means that you made the move out of 2 or a lap prior to that to get the lead. When we look at Atlanta, due to the fact that it's smaller, we're seeing these runs are coming way faster, and I think it's coming when drivers aren't necessarily ready for them, in a sense of if you're running 4th, and we've seen, look at the end of the Atlanta race, but look at really any part of the Atlanta race. Anytime, let's go back and start at the front straightaway. When the leaders, because the first 3 cars are going to be single file, when they come down the start-finish line, or to the start-finish line, and they kind of cut down in front of the inside lane, they're not cutting down, but they're breaking the draft off from the outside lane, helping the inside lane get a run, or at least helping the inside lane kind of catch up. When those 4 drivers go back up to the top side, the inside lane has momentum, and so when we typically see somebody go from the outside lane to the inside lane, it's typically either because the inside lane has been able to get there through 1 and 2 just due to the shorter radius of the corner, and due to the fact that they got to run out of the tri-oval due to the fact that the leaders were going up and down the track. And usually you see the guy go from the top lane to the bottom lane to try and make something happen in 3 and 4. Or you have a situation to where the top 3 guys are kind of just riding, and not that there's a bit of a checkup, but due to the way that they come out of the corner in 2, it pushes the momentum up through that lane, and usually the guy who's 5th or 4th in line jumps to the bottom to enter turn 3 to try and be side by side with the guy in 3rd. The reason I'm saying all this stuff is, yes, we're seeing guys lead laps here at Atlanta, and we saw it this last time at Atlanta, but we also saw a ton of different lead changes, and laps led go all around. And so if you're approaching this race of, okay, it's a plate race, but you just play the guy who's going to lead laps, I still don't believe we're going to have one true lap leader in either race. But I want to talk primarily of the Cup Series in this video. I don't think we're going to see one primary lap leader. I'm sure we'll have like 3 or 4 guys who are up there. And when we look at let me bring this up. When we look at the top 6 from that race, we had William Byron start 12th, LaJoy's 33rd, Ross Chastain 7th, Martin Truex Jr. 26th, Daniel Suarez 13th, and Kurt Busch 19th. And so it's still playing guys from the back. If you want to be more aggressive, then by all means, in my opinion, I think that compared to Daytona and Talladega, being aggressive here and trying to land the optimal, I do think you want to try and play a good car that starts inside the top, I'm going to say 12, probably from 7th to 12th, if you want to be aiming for the optimal, in my opinion. The way I'm going to approach it, just like every other fucking play race. Listen, my player pool starts at around 17th, and it goes all the way back to dead last. That's how I'm playing it. That's how I want to chase it. Another reason I want to go about that way, and look, this is not really a video where I want to go over all the past lines. I've already done that. Like I said, you can go to the channel and very easily scroll down. The titles are very easy to read, and just go back to January, and you could see really, I think, the better Super Speedway optimal lineup discussions and builds, and talking about how races are playing out, how you want to build. I've already done that. Approaching this weekend's Atlanta race, one thing that we don't have, and that, yes, we can project for how these races might play out, but we just don't have the data to show how the Atlanta races play out, using, at least going off of my gut and understanding that, look, the second Daytona race in the summer was always chaotic in July. Now that it's the final race before the playoffs, it's gotten even more chaotic. Talladega, the second Talladega race, has always been a bit chaotic because it's later in the race. It's later in the season, my bad. And guys are trying to get wins and trying to advance in the round and yada, 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 even before the chase was there. Looking at the two Atlanta races, now that we basically have 6 Super Speedway races, the first Atlanta race, while yes, it was chaotic because it was the first time these drivers have been there, we had tires blowing out, we had a lot of guys get up in the wall, things like that. I think it will lead naturally to the second Atlanta race being more crazy, like the second Daytona race, like the second Talladega race, and specifically this year in Atlanta, due to the fact that we have a situation where if you have a win, you're not in the playoffs. Anybody can win here. Nearly everybody in the field is showing up believing that they can have a top 10 finish at this racetrack. You're going to have some guys trying to get stage points. You're going to have some guys trying to get stage wins. And you're going to have some guys trying to just get the win in general here. I think this race is going to be a bit of a wreck fest. I don't think that's a bit extreme of saying that. I think you have a higher chance of these races certainly being a bigger wreck fest than the spring Talladega races, the Daytona 500. Although that's been getting crazy as well. I'm leaning towards just building guys from the back. That's just how I'm going to play, And if you want to play, chasing lap leaders, if you want to play building a real line, play the road course. But looking at Atlanta, everybody's in play. Everybody already knows how I play. I'm going to be extremely high owned on the back 10 drivers, like the final 10 starters, regardless of who they are. I'm going to be in a majority of my lines. I'll get more creative and pair it. And I mainly do six stacks and 5 ones. That's just where I'm at. I don't have a favorite guy going in. I don't think, clearly we don't know who's going to win this race. We don't know who's going to do well. We can, however, look at the people who have been optimal and who haven't been optimal at races and use that to identify people who will probably be popular and people who won't be popular. And so people who I think are going to be popular: Corey LaJoie, Ty Dillon, Eric Jones, Eric Almirola, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Bubba Wallace, William Byron, Martin Truex Jr., Ross Chastain. Those would be the guys that I would, Chris Buescher. Those would be the guys that I would probably look at having a lot of ownership if they start back half of the field. When we look at people who aren't going to be owned, and Jordan and I talked about this last year in the live show that I did with him. Pearce and I talked about this in all the shows that we do, and it's a situation where people aren't going to want to play people because they think they're bad plays. So when we get into a situation and we look at the back half of the field, the back markers aren't back markers. Like, shut the fuck up. Don't say that. Garrett Smithley, Bilicki, BJ McLeod are good plays. Harrison Burton, Todd Gilliland, Gregson are good plays. Cole Custer is a good play. When these guys start towards the back, hopefully, play them. If they're right beside somebody, like, I hate using these examples because I do believe you guys understand what to do here. But let's just say Ryan Blaney starts 29th. Okay? Who starts beside him? Who starts 30th? Harrison Burton. Who starts 27th? Ty Dillon. You know what I'm doing? I'm going to not play Ryan Blaney and play Ty Dillon and Harrison Burton. And that's the only real strategy that I have. And that's the only real thing I want to tell you is when there's a popular guy back there, just don't play him and hope that he wrecks. Everybody has the exact same percentage to wreck at this racetrack as everybody has the exact same percentage to not win this race. I mean, not win, to not wreck. It's very much a 50-50. It's a coin flip. Half the field is going to wreck, half the field isn't going to wreck. I don't want to be on the ownership of high-owned drivers. That's really the takeaway here. That's really all it is. And that's the quick little rundown. I am disappointed I'm not doing a live show this week because I'll be out of town. But look, guys, it's a plate race. Like, it's really a week off. The only thing that you might discuss. So with me, I like putting money into plate races. I like playing a lot of money on plate races. That's just me. I like aiming for Wreckfest. This is one that I like as a potential Wreckfest. I'm probably going to have several lines here. If you don't like these types of races, then don't play a lot here. Play the Truck Series race. Outside of that, yeah, it's Atlanta. Xfinity is the same thing, and Xfinity is probably going to be more fun just due to the fact that we have so many people back here that people just don't want to play. People in this race that people don't feel confident in. And so just identify the people who are popular and don't play them. That's really the takeaway. Thank you. Well, thank you for listening to my TED Talk, and I will see you guys next week. Feel free to message me on Twitter, Discord, even comment on here if you do have a question entering this week. But come on, guys, it's a plate race. Come on. You know, I'll see you guys later.